What's going on, guys? It's your old pal CHH here. Listen, I'm a really big Scream Factory fan. I've been with them since they started. I'll never forget the initial release of Halloween's 3 and 2. It was a massive event. And as a matter of fact, for the next couple years, Scream Factory releases always seemed like such a big deal. You look back to releases like this, when they would do really nice collector's editions of stuff like Nightbreed. There's a very funny story behind this, where they swapped up the orders, and the people that didn't order this got this box set, and the people that ordered it didn't. But my point is, everything seemed like such a big event back in the day for Scream Factory. Now, everything has its peaks and valleys, and that I totally understand. But guys, I kind of think that maybe, just maybe, in today's collector's market, Scream Factory's kind of fallen out of favor, or they're not the #1 company anymore in terms of what collectors love and look forward to. Now, I think this is something that I think could be changed in the eyes of the masses, because the truth is, over the last year or so, I was looking at my Scream Factory pickups and reviews, and mind you, they have a great catalog of titles, so it's not to say that they don't have good movies in their vault to do remasters for and 4Ks for, but when you look back at it, a lot of it was just releases that have already happened before, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the thing is, it's like the excitement has dwindled less and less, and I would hear people say, I love Scream Factory, but I don't get excited that much anymore for their releases. To me, I almost feel like they don't really cater to their dedicated customers as much as they used to. You know, during the Blu-ray phase of Scream Factory's titles, everything seemed like it was such made for the collector that not the normal person would be interested in buying. You know, when we would look back, they would do releases where they would custom make these documentaries for. I look back to the Army of Darkness Blu-ray release, which I think is one of the best releases Scream Factory ever did. They got all kinds of cuts for the film, which is something the collector would love, and they made this whole documentary. Back in the day, Scream Factory would do documentaries that they would make for these releases. And I talked to some people that know people that worked at Scream Factory, and then the things kind of changed to where they like the back of the slipcover to show a lot of bonus features, as opposed to, I think, what a lot of us would consider quality, when they take a bunch of interviews from people and they create a body of work. Instead of now, it's just, okay, let's interview this person, put that on a special feature, that person, put on a special feature, get the writer, put him on a special feature. Back then, they would combine it and create something really unique that tells a story. Now it's just interviews, questions, and answers. And, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just feel like now Scream Factory's gotten a little bit more copy and paste. You know, if you look at some of their releases now, I was talking to people about this, you know, their business practice or model is really weird. You know, back in the day, when you ordered a Scream Factory title, let's say Return of the Living Dead, you were excited. You could order the film and you were going to get a nice new slipcover that was going to come with the release. If you wanted to pay extra, you would get a whole nother kind of different slipcover before. And that was something that was not mandatory because you were already going to get new artwork regardless. If you bought the movie, you were going to get cool new artwork. But nowadays, if you want the new artwork, you have to spend extra money to get the bundles. You know, I can understand how collectors now, we all love original artwork on releases, and we get that, but a lot of times we really appreciated the artwork that they got these artists to create. But the only way to enjoy that new artwork is to basically buy extra slipcovers. Who wants to do that? Nobody. It's really weird that that has become just normal for them. You know, sometimes the prices can work out, especially when they make a bundle big enough to where the price difference isn't too bad from just buying the film separately from Amazon, so to speak. But it just goes to show they're the only ones doing something like that, and it just seems so bizarre. I think the way that they sell their titles nowadays has really made the collectors kind of sour, or not be as excited, or just say, ugh, that's really cool artwork, but what am I gonna do with 2 slipcovers for one movie? I'm still waiting for somebody to give me a good answer. I just think that Scream Factory maybe has fallen out of favor as being the #1 collector boutique label brand for horror fans or just physical media fans in general. You know, it's these kinds of things are gone. They don't do fun box sets anymore. Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, they were putting out awesome box sets that were really cool and the fans loved. Like they did an Omen box set. They did the Critters box set. They did the Fly box set, where they even gave us, the remake, the Cronenberg remake and the 89 sequel that Mick Garris wrote, but then they gave us the classic Fly films in a nice box set, and it was such a fun time. The Critters, if I didn't say that already. With the way they're selling their titles now, they had a perfect opportunity to do something really cool. They could have taken those Night of the Demons films that they got and packaged them up really well and made a nice hard box cover for it and done something like that. And they still could have had part 1 be a 4K. Now, some of you may say, well, Christian, that's kind of weird. Like, why would you have a box set with 4K for one movie and then Blu-rays for another? Is it weird, though? I know a lot of people that were so excited when they found out that Arrow Video did a Children of the Corn trilogy box set, and they were like, well, of course, we'll give you the first movie on 4K in the box set and give you the sequels on Blu-ray. What's the big deal? And then it got me realizing there is no big deal with that, because you still get a Blu-ray with that in case you're not a 4K person anyway. I think as collectors, which that's what these companies are, should always try to keep their customers that are loyal in mind. And I feel like Arrow is doing that way more now than ever. As a matter of fact, they're slowly solidifying themselves as, to me, the best boutique label in the world. Maybe you couldn't call them a boutique label, but I guess you really still can. They're a bigger boutique label than, obviously, Vinegar Syndrome or Synapse or anything like that. But when you finally get this in your hands and you see it, you're like, there really is nothing weird or a big deal about doing a box set where you have one film on 4K and the sequels on Blu-ray. It's totally fine, and it's nicely packaged and you get the films together. As collectors, I think we all appreciate that sort of thing. And another thing that Scream Factory did that I just scratch my head at, when they would have a lot of the licenses for those Empire titles, they would put them out in these little skinny Blu-ray cases with double billed movies, and I think both movies were on one disc. Now, that's not a horrible thing. It is what it is. We've got to get cool movies like Ghoulies and The Eliminators and Dungeon Master on Blu-ray, which is fine, but they were made to feel kind of less than or just afterthought movies. I think Arrow said, okay, look at what they did. I know that these films are only growing in popularity over the years. They took those movies that Scream Factory were just kind of like, okay, let's just kind of put these out in these multi-packs, and they created a box set that was so popular, it sold out completely on its first run, and now there's a version of this that's available that's nowhere near as cool as this. It's a much slimmer version where you've got slimmer Blu-ray cases, but the fact remains, this was given prestige to 80s classic titles that Charlie Band made, and the people went nuts for it. Scream Factory had this in the palm of their hands. They could have done something really cool with this. As a matter of fact, I think Charles Band even got the okay back in the day when Scream Factory had the license for a lot of these movies, if not all these movies, besides maybe Arena, which I think is finally hitting Blu-ray for the first time in this box set. Charles Band did his own version where he got the okay from Scream Factory to use some of the titles that they had licensed, and he made his own Empire box set, very limited. It sold out in trust me, I still lose sleep over that box set. But Arrow said, no, those titles have merit. We can do something really cool for the collector, for our customers. And they did. And it sold out so well that they had to do a second run of it, which is a more slimmed down version, because this was sold and gone. I just think that Scream Factory are kind of copy and paste nowadays. Again, it's a shame because I feel like they have such a great catalog with titles that we love. I'm looking forward, quite frankly, to Tales from the Dark Side. It's one of my favorite anthologies, if not my favorite. I just wish they could do something, I don't know, a little bit cool or different with that release. Give me something different. Throw something at the wall. Make it just a steelbook release instead of a regular release, and give me some really gorgeous art, or, I don't know, something. But it's just become copy and paste. You can get the movie and it's going to have the original slipcover on it. That's it. And it's not always about that. I'm also, of course, I love great picture quality. And I'm going to get that release because it's a movie I watch very frequently. But I just figure, you know what? Maybe it would have been cooler if Arrow Video would have got their hands on Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, or even a smaller label. Or maybe I wish Second Sight would have gotten the rights to that film around the same time, and I could have been like, oh, I could have got something much more prestigious. And I know that if either company was going to have new special features for it, it would have been Second Sight. Because special features are very important to me. I love to learn about the movie, and I find special features to be like kind of comfort food. Sometimes I'll take special Blu-rays of movies that I love that have great special features, especially like great interviews or making ofs, and I'll put that on. If I had $1 every time I take the Army of Darkness release that Scream Factory did, and I just watched the documentary that Scream Factory had produced for that as opposed to just watching the movie, I'd be pretty rich, because that's how much I enjoyed those releases. And when you look at a lot of the Scream Factory titles that have come out over the past year, I don't think any of them have anything new. I just feel like those releases are not trying to get the customers that they already have. They're just trying to get new customers. But even so, you know, if you start to get into the world of physical media collecting and you do a little research, you'll say to yourself, you know what, maybe I should go region free. Because this is the biggest thing to me nowadays is I think Scream Factory needs to kind of understand that they have more competition than they think. And what I mean by that is more people have become region free today than ever. I think most people have finally cracked through and said, I need to go region free. Because their competition is no longer Arrow Video fighting to get the license for movies in the United States. Their competition is companies like Second Sight Films, who take titles and give them the red carpet release. And the crazy thing is, the price points on a lot of this stuff, especially Arrow, it's not much different. You know, so I think if you're going to spend somewhere in the $30 to $40 price range for a title, you'll go this route and get stuff from these companies. Now, these are titles that Scream Factory doesn't have, but my point is a company like Second Sight has incredibly gone out of their way this year to stake their claim and say, we want to be the company that people get excited for, and we want to get more customers. There's no doubt in my mind Second Sight is saying to themselves, oh yes, we are definitely going out of our way to make our releases as nice as possible to make more Americans become our customers. I see so many collectors on Instagram and on YouTube in the States get this release, this May release. This is a title why Scream Factory isn't trying to grab. Maybe they are. You know, I don't know. I still think this is an era of film Scream Factory should be clamoring to get because it's time. It's 2023. This movie's like 20-something years old. It's now a cult hit. People love this movie, and there's so many movies around this time that Scream Factory should be going for. But then you have to understand, too, like, because of the competition, maybe other companies are fighting to get that kind of stuff. And even when it comes to standard releases, I think packaging really isn't everything. I get that. It is about the cover, but when companies like Vinegar Syndrome take these kinds of titles and just make them seem like such a big deal, I think that matters to people, because the fact of the matter is when you do buy something physically like this, you feel like you got your money's worth out of a release. And another thing I wanted to talk about that I wish Scream Factory would do more is to give the customer more options, but logical options. Not buying the movie or buying the movie with 2 slipcovers, which is, I'll never understand that. It's just bizarre to me that you have the option to buy 2 slipcovers. What do you do with the other one? Let's talk about something that Arrow just did that is the smartest and best thing, and the customers are going to love them for it. They announced Conan the Destroyer and Conan the Barbarian for January in the States. They did something that I can't believe. It's so good. Now, a lot of people enjoy those chunky box Arrow releases, like these. The box, like it's like a one movie thing. Well, here, it's pretty much just like the Second Sight release in terms of like what kind of casing it has. It comes with the Blu-ray. It comes with a booklet with all kinds of great information and really cool cards. People love those. That's probably the most popular kind of collector's release today. People love that. Arrow is smart enough to know that their customers love those kinds of releases. You can buy Conan the Destroyer in a chunky box release by itself and Conan the Barbarian in a chunky box release by itself. Or, and this is crazy, they're saying, or guys, if you don't want to do that, and you could probably save a few bucks, you can get the Conan Chronicles, which is going to be one box set that has both the movies and the cards and the booklets in that as well. They gave us legitimate options. Now, these are first world problem options, right? This is, do I want 2 chunky boxes for my Arrow videos movies, or do I just want to get the box set that has the 2 Blu-ray movies in it? But they gave the customers legitimate options, and that is something I would love to see Scream Factory do. I wish they would have done some sort of a limited online-only box set thing for the Night of the Demons films. It would have been a perfect opportunity to, and it just fell right out of their hands. If they can sell them separately, there's no reason in my mind why they couldn't sell them together. Now, I understand with Halloween 6, 7, and 8 that Paramount now bought, they were told we can only sell these together as a package. Totally get that. If that's the case and you have to, alright. But I feel if it's the other way around, there should be no issue doing some sort of fun online-only thing with a limited box set. You could do 500 of them. Give us options. If you give us options, the fans will always thank you for it. So I think the competition is stiff, and I just feel like people aren't as excited about Scream Factory titles. And of course, when I'm done with this video, I'll be able to think of things that make a lot more sense probably coming out of my mouth. But I just want Scream Factory to kind of look at what the other people are doing, the competitors. And when I mean competitors, I'm not just talking about Arrow or Synapse. I'm talking about Second Sight. I'm talking about Umbrella Entertainment. Look at what they're doing and why people are getting so excited for their releases and say, how do we beat them? How do we make our fans even more excited? How do we make our customers that have been with us since 2012 more excited about our releases? I hope we get back to that. Because while I am a Scream Factory customer, and I'll continue to be one because they have a great library and they've provided me with thousands of hours of entertainment, I do want to see them rise up to the top again and people get legitimately excited about their releases, because I do feel like maybe they're not so much anymore. I think like everything's kind of become just processed, rinse and repeat release-wise for them with what they do. But I don't know, guys. This is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while because so many people reach out to me and ask me how I feel about Scream Factory or how I feel about this, and that's how I feel. I'm a customer, I love them, but I do feel like it's harder and harder to just be excited about buying stuff from them. And when they do put out new stuff, the writing's on the wall of how much better it could have been, and I feel like they had the opportunity to do it. Anyway, guys, it's your old pal CHH. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Scream Factory's falling behind? As much as I love them, I sure do. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.